Hello everyone that's here. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry for the delay, but here we are. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Caro Piqueras. That's my name. I'm from Argentina, and we're going to start with my session. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them on the Q&A side, and I will be reading them through if they are if we need to answer them in the moment, and if not, we will do Q&A at the end. So this session, as the heading says here, it's from teaching to thriving, redefining what's possible in TEFL. This is the second time I'm here at the International TEFL Day. Thanks also to the TEFL Academy for inviting me. Last year, I spoke a bit about my whole experience from before Argentina, from before, there we have someone from Argentina. Hi. My experience from living Argentina, living around the world, and all of that. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your nice welcoming. We have people from South Africa, Nigeria, Argentina, Canada. Okay, so we're going to start, and then I'm gonna read there so I don't get distracted. So the session goals are four, and if I get to achieve one of these with one of you, I would be so happy. So I would want to inspire you through real experience, in this case, my experience. Expand what you believe is possible with TEFL, because I must say, and you will see some preconceived ideas of TEFL and being a non-native English speaker that are not true. I would also want to encourage you to have personal reinvention, because I did that so many times, and you'll see, and also empower you to take your next step. I don't know if you're here starting, if you have done your TEFLs, if you're thinking about it, if you have finished, if you are experienced teachers or not. Like, I have no idea. You can tell me there. So we'll see what you can take from this session. A little bit about me. Well, that little girl there is me when I was 6 years old. And teaching was always my dream. That, together with being a mom, that's still to to become true. But I always wanted to be a teacher since I was very young. I remember playing with my siblings, with my cousins, with my friends, with my toys, with my dolls, all the time, teaching, explaining, guiding, helping. Some people would call it bossing around. But well, yeah. I remember going to the garden of my parents' house, taking out all my dolls, having a notebook, and writing down classes and stuff and games and being creative. And so teaching was always a part of me, I would say. And I think it felt quite natural even before I knew what it meant to teach. It was a childhood dream, and it stayed as a dream for longer than I expected, to be honest. And now you'll see why I say this. So, who am I today? As I said, I am from Argentina, but I live in Denmark. And before everyone asks, because I know this is a very common question, I am in Denmark because I am lucky enough to hold two nationalities. So I have Argentinian and German since I was born, because of my parents, because of my family. So that's how I am living here in Europe with my German passport. That's how I have my residency. I am not here because of a job. I am not here because of a partner or anything like that. So that explained, because it's always a question. Then I teach English and I teach Spanish. So I started, yes, with my TEFL degree teaching English. I was so scared of teaching Spanish. I don't know why, but this year I started and I absolutely love it. I teach kids, teens, and adults. I do online and face to face classes. I train teachers and I lead a small team of teachers in my academy, the TRAT method, which I will tell you a bit more in a bit. And well, I am the founder of my global academy, my small but big global academy. But none of this would be possible if it wasn't for um, everything I did since I was 18 until today. So let's go a bit back in time. So as I said, I always dreamt to be a teacher, and that stayed as a dream for longer than expected. Because when I finished school and when I had to choose a career to go to university, because I didn't have a choice. My parents wanted me to go to uni. I was in between doing photography, between doing something creative, and between studying early childhood education in Spanish. At that moment, I was not thinking about teaching in English, even though I went to a bilingual school. I did not like English at the moment. But I decided to study advertising. So I did my career, I did my 4 years, finished my bachelor's degree. Everything was okay, everything was fine. I liked it, but I did not love it, to be honest. So I finished and I decided to move abroad. Again, that German passport that I hold helped me move to Spain, where I started my life abroad. And this was 11 years ago already. I was 22 years old back then. And I tried many different paths. I worked as a freelance advertiser, I worked as a nanny, both in English and in Spanish. I was also the manager of a cafe. I did some Once I remember I was giving out flyers for some company for Uber Eats. I did lots and lots and lots of different things. And I also moved to Australia and then to New Zealand. So lots of things from 18 until 26. And none of them was being a teacher. None of them was teaching a language or teaching anything. And so teaching felt quite far away from my life. And I was actually starting to get a bit sad, discouraged, because I realized with being a nanny, with being an au pair, that I really, really wanted to work with kids and I did not want to be a nanny or an au pair forever. And so that's how the TEFL course came into my life. The story is a bit longer, but I discovered it from some native English speakers, from some people from England talking about it while I was on holidays in Fiji. And I heard about it. I was like, interesting. I don't think I can do it because I am from Argentina. But then in December 2017, I decided to give it a go. I did some research. The TEFL Academy appeared in my life. I enrolled on the level 5 combined TEFL course, which I completed in Auckland, New Zealand. I did the face to face part over there and finished. I had zero idea what to do next, no clear path. I didn't know where to go, if I was going to be accepted in any job, to be honest. Like, I didn't know a thing, but I really had the desire for a change. I wanted to continue working with kids as I was working at the moment as an au pair, but I wanted to do it in a bigger level. I wanted to play with them all the time, and I wanted to teach them things, and I wanted to share my time, and as I was doing as an au pair, sorry, but with more kids, not with just two. And so I thought about Thailand. I thought, why not try to find a job in Thailand? I feel like Thailand might be a very popular destination nowadays, but in 2018, as a teacher, at least myself, I don't think it was that popular. So that's what I did. I started looking for jobs. As you can see here, I don't know if you get to see, I got my degree in May 2018, and in June, I was flying to Thailand. So I must say that I finished the course more like in March, but I was putting off the last assignment because, yeah, I don't know. I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know if I was going to make it. So I just put it off until the last day. I passed it with merit, got the certificate, and I already had a job aligned in Thailand. So I flew to Thailand in June 2018 to this small town called Trat, and maybe you can make some connections with the name of my academy. I moved to Trat and I started teaching at a small language academy over there. I went there for just 1 year. I signed a contract for a year, but I ended up staying longer. If you know some part of my story, you know that I stayed for almost 5 years. But yeah, that's where I had like my first real teaching experience. Of course, I learned to adapt, to connect, to manage classrooms, to be with kids, to be a leader of small people. I built confidence and I built my teacher identity slowly, right? Because I knew myself as an au pair, I knew myself as an advertiser, I knew myself as a nanny, but I didn't know myself as a teacher. And I must say that it's my best version. Like, I stood up in the classroom for the first time And I felt so good, so happy, so thrilled that, yeah, that was the one of the best days of my life was in June 2018 when I started teaching. So Thailand became my foundation. So much so that I learned lots. My boss, my former boss, Damien from Australia, he taught me absolutely everything. He was so generous with me, and I will be forever grateful with him. We still stay in touch. He's very happy about my present. And so I always say that Thailand was kind of like my university outside of university. And I entered that job with like very entry level job as a new fresh teacher that came out from a TEFL certificate and no prior education in education. And 2 years in, I got offered the position of vice principal of this language school. And this was 2020. And we know what happened in 2020. But prior to COVID, prior to pandemic, prior to all of that, I got offered the job. I signed my contract. I started to get trained for this new job. But then, yeah, COVID happened. My bosses, they were going to move to Australia, and that's why I was going to stay in charge of the school. That didn't happen. So I decided that okay, it was time for me to leave Thailand to start a new chapter. And so I had aligned a new and different job, which was in Kenya. I had a job. I signed a contract to go to a northern tribe in a place called Turkana in Kenya. And I was going to be in charge of an education project. It was with an NGO, so it was kind of like volunteering, but because I was going to be there for a year, I was going to get paid something to survive, those months. I was so excited, so happy. So in the meantime, I went to Argentina to spend the holidays with my family, and in March, I had tickets to go to Kenya. The time came, and a week prior to my flight leaving, Kenya decides to close the borders of all of the provinces. So I had to make a decision. I was going to fly to Nairobi, and I was probably going to be stranded there, stuck there. So I had to tell them, like, I'm sorry, but I cannot go because I don't know what's going to happen. And so that did not happen yet, but I know it's going to happen at some point because it's something that I really want to do. And so I had to reinvent myself again, right? First time I reinvented myself was when I stopped being an advertiser, which I was never really an advertiser, I would say. And I started being a nanny. And then when I stopped being a nanny to be a teacher, and then from being a teacher, I was going to be leading a project in Kenya. But because that did not happen, I found myself again in Argentina. This time I was, I think, 28 years old, and I did not know really what to do. And it was the first time that I had a career that I loved, which was teaching, but in a place that I did not think I belonged, which is Argentina, my home country. But yeah, I just don't feel it my place anymore. And so I had to start over. What did I do? And maybe it's what most people did during the pandemic, start doing something online. So I started teaching online. Luckily, by that time, I already had a good following on my socials on Instagram. Because when in 2018, when I started teaching in Thailand, I started also sharing my story on Instagram. And by 2021, I had quite loyal followers that were asking for me to teach them English. And so I just posted it there. I got a bunch of students and I started teaching adults. It was my first time with stable students that did not come from a school. I started building some structures, some routines, some systems. I was not a good boss at all. I would make myself work for like 9 hours a day, maybe no breaks. It was like horrible. I was not a good boss back then. I changed a lot now, but yeah, I mean, I had to learn, right? So I also discovered with this that I could teach from anywhere, which is quite obvious nowadays. But back then, I didn't know if I could teach, if I could do my own thing, because I thought about going online on the typical platforms that we all know, like Preply and all those places. And I was like, I want to try doing it on my own. I feel like I always want to do it on my own first. And luckily, it went well. So this became a turning point in my life because it was not a plan B anymore. It was a new beginning. I had my own small teaching company, however we want to call it. It had no name or anything, but I was living from it. And then Thailand came back into my life. Thanks to Thailand, round two came back this time, and we are at this time July 2021. This time I got offered a job through Instagram, and that's why Instagram was important, right? I got students from there, and now I got a job offer. And this was from an American international school in Thailand, in Chiang Mai. Now we go to the north of the country. And the person that was offering me the job was the secondary director. He was a follower. He had been following me for years. He would see all the things I posted about my classes, my students, stories and videos and posts and everything. And he really loved my work. So he offered me the job not once, not twice, but three times. First two times I rejected it just because I thought it was not a real offer. I'm like, how can I, a non-English speaker, like non-native English speaker, get a job at an international school? Like, I do not have the accent, I do not have the passport, I do not have the nationality. Like, how? And this is some of the things that I was telling you at the beginning. I thought that I couldn't. I don't know why. Someone told me one day, as a non-native English speaker, you will not get jobs at international places. There are certain countries you cannot go because of your accent, and this and that. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. That there might be some places that are like that. There might be some schools that are like that, but the majority care about you being a good educator rather than which accent you have and where do you come from. So I ended up saying yes to the job, and I'm very happy I did. I flew to Thailand. As I said, I was living now in Chiang Mai. I signed for a 2-year contract, 2021 until 2023. And I started running my own small language academy inside the school. So they created a new position just for myself. I had full responsibility of it. I would like create the curriculums, create the classes, the coordinated. I had my assistant that helped me lots. And my students were mainly from China, Korea, and Japan, not from Thailand. It was great experience. It of course helped me grow my confidence, my leadership skills, and I really enjoyed it. The opportunity, the way it happened, my students there, well, the school, right? I came from a small language school in Trat, which is a tiny town in the middle of swamps and jungles, and now I was living on the campus of a big international school up in the mountain with lots of people from everywhere, like lots of colleagues. So it was amazing. And then after those 2 years in Thailand, the last 2 years that I stayed in Thailand, I decided to move to Denmark. Now, if you were here last year, if you were on my session last year, or if you follow me somewhere, you know the reason why I moved. And you know the reason why I'm still here, which is very different. So I moved to Denmark for love. I fell in love with a Dane once I was on holidays here. So after 2 years in Thailand, I decided to move here to give it a go. I have to say that now we are not together anymore, but I did decide to stay here for myself because I love Denmark so much. I love Copenhagen so much. And I created so many good things, connections, and people that, yeah, I just decided to stay. But well, going back to Denmark 2023, I started again from zero. I moved with my German passport for myself, but also with a person. I had no jobs. I wanted to take a break. So for 2 months, I decided not to work. And then eventually I was like, no, okay, I need to do something. I'm driving myself crazy. Like, I want to work again. And so I decided to start teaching online again. And how did I do it? I went back to my platform, I went back to Instagram, and I was like, okay, let's just ask my students if they want classes as my followers. And that's how I started teaching again. So I started with adults, and then I slowly became a kid teacher and a teenager teacher again. I started with face to face classes, and then I also shifted to online. Here, I must say, and this is advice if I may give you any, I saw an opportunity and I took it, and I think it was the best moment, because when I moved here to Denmark, I must say that most of my students are the ones that learn English. They are Spanish speakers from Argentina, from Spain, from Colombia, Venezuela, Chile, like different countries. But when I moved here, I realized that all those people that were living here in Denmark and they were learning English, sorry, they were learning from teachers that were not in Denmark, that were somewhere else, and they were doing, of course, online lessons. And some people were telling me, hey, we are missing someone that teaches face to face. Like, some people would want that instead of online. And so I saw that opportunity, I took it, and because I was living literally in the center, in the heart of Copenhagen, that was amazing. I started teaching face to face, and I got lots of students like in a second. Also, my students recommended me a lot, and that was amazing. But I think it was also the time, the moment, and seeing the opportunity and taking it. So yeah, this Denmark, the country and the opportunity, it brought me stability again. I had my income again. I had my own job, and this time it was all created on my own. It gave me structure and clarity, and I began slowly visualizing something bigger. So in 2024, January 2024, I created the TRAD method, which is my language academy. It is registered here in Denmark. We pay taxes here in Denmark. So it's like all legal and own global academy that I own. Well, you can see the connection, right, between the TRAD method and TRAD, the first province in Thailand where I taught. It's not a coincidence, of course. I launched a program for teachers in 2024 to teach them my way of teaching, my approach, my way of organizing myself, etc. The program has been going for a year and a half, and I have more than 100 teachers have done it. It's on my website. Thing is, it's in Spanish at the moment, but it's amazing, if I can say so. I add new things all the time, but I also, of course, teach students, right? I have helped more than 100 students prepare for job interviews, pass those interviews, prepare for international exams to enter university here in Denmark and all around the world. And I also have helped them move abroad. Lots of students come here to Denmark, or they go to other countries in Europe, to Australia, to New Zealand. So with my academy, I got to do that, and I am very happy and proud of that. And I also created, as I said, program for teachers, memberships, workshops. Like, I really like also all the professional development side that I had done in the schools I worked at. I had the opportunity to lead professional development sessions, but now I am doing it all the time with my academy, and I really like it. I also will help students, teachers, sorry, get organized and get more confident through my programs, through my memberships. I built a community of educators. You can find them on the Thread Method Instagram. I also have, as I said, my website. I have WhatsApp channels. I have newsletters. So there's lots there of um, getting together in community. Maybe some of you are like me, teaching and having your own businesses, and you know how lonely it can be sometimes. But if you find the right people, it can also not be lonely at all. I also have a small group of teachers that work for my academy. They live in Spain and in Argentina. They teach online only, but we do, every 2 weeks we do professional development sessions where we all present new things, new ideas, games. We comment on students. We try to get better. So that's also something that I really, really like. And well, the TRAD method became my bridge, right? From being a teacher to an educator to a creator. So I really love my academy, my small business and baby that it's turning 2 years now in January. As I said, we have students from all over the world. This year we started teaching Spanish. I also have, well, for Spanish, I have people from Denmark, from Scotland, from Poland, from Lithuania, from the Netherlands, from Germany. I have kids and I have adults like learning Spanish. And it's also so nice to finally start teaching my own language. I was so scared after so many years of teaching English. I was scared of teaching Spanish because, if you know, it's a very difficult language. But yeah, luckily this year I started doing it. I stopped putting it off and I started doing it. And well, yeah, we still do online and in-person lessons. I have a group of teachers, and This is what once was my dream. That little girl that I showed you at the beginning of the presentation that would teach her siblings, her cousins, her friends, her dolls, and she was bossing everyone around and guiding and explaining, and one time dreamt of having something of her own, now is a reality. I changed my career path at 26 when I did my TEFL course. Now I'm 33, almost 34, and I already have my own academy. And I am very proud of myself for that. And lots of things, of course, happen in the middle, very lots of bumps on the road, lots of, as everyone, frustrations, etc. But I could do it. And I'm also here, like this session is to show you that you can also do whatever you want to do. I was once that girl, woman, we can say at 26, that was changing her career path, that didn't know if she was doing it, if she was gonna be able to do it. And I did it. Not only I worked at international schools, but I also have my own academy at the moment. So, what TEFL made possible for me, and these are just some of the things that I remembered with when I was doing the session, teaching across countries, and I think that was probably the main reason why I started doing this. But now it's become just one more thing among all the other things that it gave me. It also helped me reinvent myself many times. As you can see, it made I reinvented myself many times with being an advertiser, changing to teacher, going to Thailand, Kenya, that didn't happen, teaching online, Thailand again, coming to Denmark, starting my own business, getting dumped by my boyfriend, starting over again, now on my own, still with my business, being like my sole supporter. So, yeah, it helped me a lot with that. It also helped me with opportunities through Instagram. Again, my students, I get them from Instagram. That job in Thailand was offered to me through Instagram. I get income at this moment also through Instagram. I have been working with the TEFL Academy since 2018 as a brand ambassador. So, yeah, also it helped me, the TEFL and Instagram, to build a brand and a business. It also helped me build my method, my academy, my approach, my identity, my way of teaching. It helped me be financial independent, and it helped me design a life, because now I have the life. I'm slowly getting to the life that I always wanted. And but teaching was something that I wanted since I was very little, and I am doing it thanks to TEFL, thanks to not giving up at 26 when I thought I would never be a teacher, and just doing it. So, some learning outcomes from this, from my experience, is that you do not need certainty. You just need a first step. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for the perfect time, perfect day, perfect country, perfect job offer, perfect nothing. Will never happen. Never. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but I was also that person waiting for these and waiting for that and whatnot. If no, just do it. Just if you want something, go for it. It can happen, it cannot. It can go great, it can go wrong, but we learn from mistakes. So just do it. TEFL opens more doors than you imagine. As you can see, I started as a teacher. I got a job offer to be a vice principal after 2 years of teaching. I got offered a job at an international school by being a non native English speaker. Now I run my own academy, and all with just a certificate. Because, yeah, I hold a bachelor's degree, but in advertising. So the TEFL did most of it. Reinvention is part of the journey, as I said before. Start over as many times as you need, and as many times as you want, and as many times as life make you start over. But it's life, right? We know that we will have to start over so many times, and I can see myself starting over again 25 more times from the rest of my life. So it's just part of the journey. Don't get so frustrated. Your voice and your story matters. As I told you, most of my students, I got them through Instagram. Most of the jobs, I secure them through Instagram. I'm not saying go viral, open a so like an Instagram account, TikTok account, but just speak up and be confident about yourself and about your story, where you come from, which country, your culture. Like, don't try to hide because you are a non-native English speaker, because you are from this small place, because you have no, your voice matters, your story matters. Somewhere, someone is waiting for you. So just be proud of who you are. You can build a career that fits your life. Yes, you can do that. Maybe at the beginning, we depend on other people, we work for others, we have to go to places that we might not love, but you can do what you love. When I started teaching, when went to Thailand, I had somewhere in my head like the small hope that one day I would have my own academy. And I thought it was just a dream. And nowadays it's real. I must say, I do not have yet like a physical place. I still teach at home, but that's the next step. I know that one day I'm going to have a huge place with the sign that would say the trad method, and people would come in and out, and there will be lots of classrooms and teachers and everything, and it's going to come true. Now we're in the process of that, but like, you can build the career you want and the career that fits your life. And also, we need to remember that there is space for every teacher. I'm a firm believer that there's as many teachers as students out there. Like, there's space, there's room for all of us. So don't feel that you need to be like someone else, because if not, no one will hire you or whatever. Be yourself, because people want you, they don't want someone else. And now to kind of finish this, and then we can read the questions that I see there's a couple here. As I said at the beginning, I don't know if you are in the process of starting your TEFL course and your TEFL career, or if you are already an experienced teacher. So I am going to talk to both of you, if I can, if I may, give you some practical steps. So if you're starting, if you're here considering doing the TEFL course, or if you're in the process of doing it or you just finished it, just begin where you are with the TEFL course, with the assignments. Don't, I read there someone that is also putting it off. Just do it. It's gonna go great. If you studied, if you did your research and everything, it's gonna go good. And if not, you have two more chances. So don't worry about it. Just begin where you are. It's right there. It's the moment. It's the place where you have to be. So begin where you are. Again, don't wait for the perfect time, the perfect moment, because it's never gonna be perfect. Say yes to opportunities. Say yes to opportunities that you think might not be for you. Like, I said yes to that job at the international school that I thought they were kidding me, and it ended up being amazing. And embrace being a beginner. It's also nice being a beginner, because you can make mistakes. And it's not that you can't make mistakes now as an experienced teacher, right? But I feel like I had more patience with myself when I was a beginner than now. Now I'm like, come on, you've done this, you did that, you should know better, or this should come easier to you, and this or that. And no, we're always learning new things. There are always new things, like now with AI and new tools and new stuff. So it's okay. But it's good being a beginner. So embrace it and get the most out of it. And if you are already teaching and you have not done it because you work for others, build your systems, find your way, find your voice, your identity, try and find your own ways of doing things. Even though you're working for someone else, even though you have a boss, even though you should do things a certain way, you can still do things a certain way, but in your way, on your own way. Explore online teaching if you haven't done it, and please do face to face if you have never done that. If you started with like pandemic and you always did online, find a way to do at least one face to face class. It's amazing. I really love it. And I also thought, and adding to this that I didn't say it, also explore teaching different ages. I always thought I loved kids and I was only going to teach kids because kids. And now that I teach adults and kids and teens, I love adults also, because you can have other conversations. You can talk about different topics. You can relate, of course, in so many different levels, even though they don't have the best level of English or Spanish when I teach Spanish. It's just a very different experience. So I feel like you should try, just try, explore. Like, life is for exploring, for doing things. So explore teaching, explore ages, explore everything. Specialize your approach also, as I said before. Find your way, find your voice, find your identity, find your methods, if we can call them like that, because we can all get inspired from other people, but in the end we all make our own way of teaching. Like, that's how it is. Like, I don't think it could be any different, because even though I learned from a teacher, I'm going to add my own way of doing it, of being, because I am different. And this is a job where who we are matters a lot. Who we are as a person matters a lot, and the students will see it reflected in the class. and create your own projects. If you're working for other people, and if you have been working for other people for a while, um, maybe try and find small things that interest you, and maybe who knows, then in the future you have your own side projects. Maybe I also get lots of teachers that have been teaching for 40 years. They are about to retire. They do my program because they want to start doing their own thing, and they want to find their own voice after teaching at schools for so long. They don't really know who they are as teachers, and that's why I'm telling you, find your voice before you get to that moment. So try and find small projects, learn, do workshops, do things, talk to people, communicate, engage, and just enjoy the process. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but I love teaching. And the last thing is that TEFL isn't just about English teaching or teaching languages. It's about discovering what's possible for your life, because that's what it does. That's a new possibility that you have. And every step counts, even the unexpected ones, even those times that I was not thinking I had to do something or something was going to happen. They led me to this place. They led me to be at this International TEFL Day for the second time in a row. It led me to be here, having the opportunity to talk to all of you. So just just do it. And well, thanks for joining. Now I'm gonna go read all the things you were writing there. If you want, there you have my socials. I think I said they are in Spanish, but you can, of course, nowadays everything is translated to English. And if you talk to me, of course, I speak English. But yes, thanks a lot. Now I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna look at all the things you've said. So, well, yeah, everyone that you were saying hello, hi to everyone. So happy to see your presentation. Thank you. Let's see. I'm a final year bachelor student studying professional communication. I also volunteer in grade 1 classroom, and I am an online reading tutor. Do you think I can have a TEFL career? Yes, of course you can have a TEFL career. I said I started as an advertiser, and my only experience when I started teaching was being a nanny for 10 years, working with kids. But that, yes, 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 100 times. Yes, you can start your TEFL career, no problem. You also learn with the job. The only thing I think that we all need to know is that to do the TEFL certificate and to teach English, we need to know English. That's it. And I mean, I think you can tell my English is not perfect. My accent is not native. My accent is what it is, but you can still do it. So, yes. Um, then let's see. Next one. Hello from Canada, South Africa, Trinidad. Here, okay, we have people new to TEFL. They're doing the TEFL level 5. Cape Town. Let's see. We have lots of people just doing the TEFL now. Great. I remember that moment. It was so exciting and daunting at the same time, but I loved it. What is the TRAD method? Is my academy, as I mentioned. Then we can get into what it is in a bit if you're interested in knowing. This is a bit off topic, but is there a way I can learn Spanish from you? Yes, if you want to learn Spanish from me, you can contact me through my Instagram, the TRAD method, and I can teach you, no problem. There you have my Instagram handle is on the screen. The TRAD method is my academy. Caro Piqueras is my personal account. So also if you do, like if you scan that code, I think it takes you to my Instagram profile. Let's see. Someone that has been putting off the last assignment for 2 weeks, just do it. Just do it, because that was me, but just do it. It's gonna go great. Does anyone know if there will be a replay of this event? I cannot answer that, but I think all the sessions are being recorded, so I'm guessing there will be somewhere. How do we know where the current booming market is for English language teachers? I would like to teach again in Latin America, but I can't decide on a country. I don't know how to know, to be honest. But I mean, I guess that if you go to the different platforms to find jobs, you will see where the most offers are. In Latin America, I think that's a very good place. I don't know about salaries, to be honest, how if they pay well down there. But yeah, there's always teachers needed everywhere. I would say, yeah, maybe ChatGPT knows, at this moment. Um, then what is very inspiring, gracias, de nada. I am a retired person with TEFL Level 5 Business Certificate and Online Teaching Certificate, all from the TEFL Academy. What first step would you recommend to begin to teach online? And can you give information on your Spanish course? Okay, so what steps? First, to get organized, right? Organize yourself, organize um, what is it that you want to do, and then try and find some new students. You can do it through Instagram, you can do it through platforms, you can do it like from people you know. That, I think, the most difficult part at the beginning is finding students. Now, I am being told that this probably is going to finish because at 5 we have new people starting new sessions. What I can do is go to one of the tables. If you saw, like, on the main website, there's a part that says social or something like that. I can go to a table and you can actually join and we can see each other and we can talk. But let's see, last questions. As long as your career, you span a long career history, which sounds very impressive and motivating, I would like to ask, did you do all this through level 5 diploma? Or, yeah, no, I did only my TEFL course. Then I did, of course, workshops and professional development, like WIDA courses, Jollyphonic courses, lots of things specific from teaching and what I was teaching. But I did not do any other degrees. I am now in deciding to do one of the L, which is TEFL, but for Spanish. I'm gonna do that for Spanish, but I do not have any other degrees, only my experience. Does the TREAD method currently employ teachers? Not at the moment, but if I do employ, I employ teachers that have done my program, so they know how I teach, they know my method, they know my ways, they know everything. So if you want to teach for my academy, you first have to do my program, which, as I said, at the moment it's mostly in Spanish. But if there's many people interested in doing it, I can of course do it in English. And the question about learning Spanish with me, again, you can just go to my Instagram, message me there, and I can let you know. You believe that getting certain jobs was not possible because of not being a native speaker, but because of you, I believe that getting whatever job is I want is 100% possible. Thanks for changing the narrative and for being such an inspiration. Well, I'm happy that you think that now, because also, one of the reasons why I started sharing my story on Instagram in 2018 is because, as a non native English speaker, I did not find anyone at that time sharing their stories. I looked on Instagram, YouTube, um, like Google, and I couldn't find anyone. Of course, I was not the first English, non native English speaker teaching around the world, but I couldn't find a reference. And I am someone that really likes to look up to people or have someone to as a reference. So that's why I started sharing my story, and I inspired lots of people. I can tell you that because I have been with the TEFL Academy for a while, and I know, but it's only because I started sharing my story that I also felt, wait, listen, like, why? Because I'm not a native English speaker, I cannot teach, and I think that that also helped me get the jobs that I got. I use that narrative quite a lot, to be honest. Do you recommend starting a social media presence? It's good. I mean, nowadays it is very good to have a social media presence. I understand, though, that there's lots of people doing the same. So you need to find your way. And you're a true inspiration. Your journey is, wow, so courageous and brave. Teaching online more challenging than teaching face to face. And do you need a degree to teach in Argentina and Spain? I have no idea, to be honest, Argentina, because I never taught in Argentina. And face to face, if is teaching online more challenging than teaching face to face? I don't know. I think face to face is more challenging, but I love both. If you prepare yourself, you're ready for both. But I do think I need to finish this. But let me see. Yeah, I need to finish my presentation, and I'm sorry, someone else needs to come up. So, but if you want, as I said, you can go to those tables in the social area. I can be there and we can keep talking. Thanks again for joining. Thanks for being here. And yeah, we can see each other there.